lot of peace and a lot of thought about really what happened and why.
72 years after he was killed fighting in World War II, a local hero finally laid to rest. This week, dozens of veterans and family members gathered to pay their respects to Sergeant Charles Damon. Damon, who grew up near Plummer, Idaho, was shot down over Germany. His remains wouldn't be identified until years later.
So this is a story that we wanted to bring you on Tuesday, but the area wildfires and evacuations, they pulled all of our resources. Still, though, we feel his journey home is an important story to tell. KREM 2's Taylor Vito was there as Sergeant Damon was finally laid to rest alongside his parents in Coeur d'Alene.
I didn't think it had ever happened.
Ready?
A proper military burial.
A lot of sentimental feelings.
A proper send-off for a hero from the greatest generation.
Charles H. Damon, Army of the United States of America.
A goodbye for a man most here in attendance never knew.
72 years is a long time.
His name was Charles Damon. As a young man from Plummer, Idaho, he joined the armed forces, becoming an airman during a time of great need from his country. Sergeant Damon's life was tragically cut short when the bomber he was on was shot down over Germany near the end of World War II.
They had flak, and of course they had the German fighters.
Damon's body was never found. His family presumed him to be missing. But that all changed last year when his relatives learned that researchers had excavated the crash site. Using DNA, they identified a piece of bone that belonged to Sergeant Damon, and after months of waiting, he was brought home.
Nobody, I think, thought it would ever happen. None of my family.
At a Coeur d'Alene cemetery, not just family gathered, but fellow veterans too, all there to bid farewell to a man who gave it all.
Leave No Man Behind has been a model for quite a few years, and this is the final step of that Leave No Man Behind.
Damon's nephew and other relatives were presented with medals posthumously awarded to the airmen, included among them the Purple Heart.
And the first thing I did was turn him over to be sure his name was on him, and it was.
It took only a moment, but after that, Sergeant Damon was finally laid to rest. His remains placed atop the gravesite of his parents, the ones who longed the most for his return.
My grandmother swore that he would come walking in the back door at any given moment, and he would be home. Well, he finally made it home.
A return trip to North Idaho, more than 70 years in the making. In Coeur d'Alene, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.